Today we're going to be going over the top 5 most common pitching mistakes and how to fix them.
So the first one, and probably the most common one that we see, is missing up or down consistently. And usually what this is caused by is the pitcher's bending over a lot, and it's really frustrating, especially in a game. So when you're working in your practice, usually the cause of bending over is not getting tall on your push-off. So you see at the end of their push-off, so you see at the end of the push-off that they're here, so their chest is still forward, they have a straight line through their hip, and then they're never going to get tall, and that ends up making them bend over. So the thing to focus on is really getting tall with your push-off, getting triple extension, so you're getting your torso up, but that leg's getting behind. It's also really important to make sure that you're staying on your power line, because that's going to let you drive into your hip and help you stay tall that much more.
And I'm back.
And you're back.
And I'm back. The second mistake is we often see pitchers at the end, after they've released it, their arm gets super tight. So we don't want to be getting tight and curling our arm like this. We want it to stay nice and loose. So just focusing on keeping the arm loose. Something that I like to tell my pitchers is imagine that your arm is like a wet spaghetti noodle that's just nice and relaxed versus a stiff, uncooked spaghetti noodle. So sometimes also, without even meaning to, if you're too far forward and your hip's closing, your arm's forced to kind of get tight to try to come around your hip. So if you just think about staying back in your pitch and just letting the arm come through smoothly and naturally, then that can also help fix that. You're just okay. So I get out of the, yeah. Goodbye.
Another one that I see is when I have girls who really want to throw hard, they start going really fast with their windup. And what ends up happening is that they slow down because their body is going so fast they can't work together. So then by the time they get to their load position, it's time to push off, everything's just kind of trying to figure out how to work together, and that's going to slow down. So we don't necessarily want your windup to be slow. Everybody's going to have a different pace that's right for them. But it should be smooth, where you see everything work together, and that's going to set you up for your push-off to be really fast, which is where we really want to put the focus and speed.
So another mistake that we see with pitchers is when they start to aim or overthrow, trying to make the ball go to a certain spot, and they end up slowing down their whole motion. So obviously we don't practice with going slow. So it doesn't make sense to expect that if we're practicing normally and then we go into a game and now we slow down our mechanics, we're not going to be expected to hit those locations. So keeping everything going the same, normal speed. And we also see this especially with pitchers throwing their changeups. So your arm does not need to slow down to slow the ball down. I also tell my pitchers to throw their changeup as hard as they can. That allows them to still have the same motion, coming out, arm circle, all of that release. All stays the same speed. It's just your release point with the changeup that actually slows it down. So keeping everything going the same speed.
And you should listen to her on her changeup, because she had one of the best in the country.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So oftentimes we end up aiming if we're trying to really nail our locations. In a game, your goal is to just get the batters out. So staying loose, finding a way to get them out, and then, we work on locations in practice so that it translates over to games. So locations should be for focusing on in your bullpen and not during a game. During a game, you just want to let it go and go right after the hitter. And with that, Christina will be coming in.
And finally, the last thing we see a lot is when pitchers start to miss arm side, or they feel like the ball's falling out of their hand. And what's happening there is they're hitting out of their hand. So that can be caused by a lot of different things. That can be caused by something off of your push-off. The timing is off of your wind-up. You could be offline. So figure out what it is that's causing that to happen. And then the goal is to really just make sure that you're able to keep your weight back, because if you can keep your weight back, now you have a clear path for your arm to come through. But as soon as you get here, or here, or here, you're getting in your way and your arm can't come through straight, which is why you feel like it's usually out here, you feel like the arm's getting pushed out there, and you see the ball start to miss arm side line. So those are the top 5 things that we've seen with our athletes that happen in games and in practice a lot. So try these things. They should help. It just takes practice. Remember, trust your stuff. You work really hard at this. It's okay to trust your stuff. That's part of why we work so hard. We'll see you next week.
Bye. I was like, bye-bye.